Guam, Jeff Cook and Roy Kiefer reporting. The starting team for James Buchanan being introduced. Lots of Heckmans out there. Mike, Tony, and Derek, along with Justin Dovey and Sean Zimmerman, the starters. And now the Gettysburg Warriors under Coach Jim Dooley. Special thanks to Dan Dooley rejoining us here on the ACT crew on extremely short notice. Dan Dooley providing the lens work. Chris Reka, Brian Lindsay, and Brandon Streeter in the starting lineup, along with Josiah Henry and Mike Graham. Roy Buchanan, a bit of an enigma this season.
Well, they're a three-point shooting team, Jeff, and sometimes they're very hot, and sometimes apparently they're very cold. Had a 44-point loss the other night at Northern. Now, Northern's got a fine ball club, but I understand that one of Buchanan's starters was feeling very sick that night, and that probably affected Buchanan's game. So we got to throw that score out. These two teams played 4 tough ones last year, and there's no reason to expect anything different tonight.
We'll stay right with the anthem. We will go on camera at the half. Roy on round ball. Won't give any further introduction. It's going to be a special moment. But let's talk a little bit about James Buchanan. You mentioned that lopsided loss to Northern. Northern, of course, with their special version of the Twin Towers and identical twins, the Klaus brothers. They have a lot of force underneath, and that's something to look forward to down the stretch of the season. And it would seem that the keys here might be Chris Reka and Josiah Henry. Can they deliver on the blocks here tonight?
Gettysburg should have a size and strength advantage against Buchanan tonight, and that's something I'll have to take advantage of. One change in the starting lineup. I mentioned Mike Heckman was ill the other night, and he's not in the starting lineup tonight. Instead, Kevin Stoner, a young freshman, is going to be starting for Buchanan, along with his brother. So it's a brother story again for Buchanan.
Lots of Heckmans, lots of Stoners, but the Warriors control the opening tip. Josiah Henry at the top of the key is guarded by Zimmerman. That's Reka with it now, and Graham, as Buchanan opens in man-to-man defense. Lots of statisticians in tow tonight. Brian Lindsay with a nice duck under move. Got the shake, got the rattle, couldn't got the roll, and it spun out. Yanked down by Buchanan, and Reka got a piece of it to prevent the layup, but James Buchanan will inbound.
Yeah, Chris made a nice move stepping in the passing lane there to cut off the pass. Probably should have held on to the ball, but very good defensive play anyhow. Zimmerman, number 50 for Buchanan, who came down with the first rebound, is their big rebounder, and Josiah Henry's going to have to try to keep him off the boards.
Andy Stoner looked inbound and ran out of time. 5-second violation turns it over to the Warriors. A little bit of full court pressure here. 2-2-1 zone trap, it looks like.
They showed that last year too, and it was relatively passive most of the time.
Lindsay pulls up and rattles it home. 2-0 Warriors.
Brian Lindsay's a big key for the Gettysburg offense. He and Brandon Streeter have to score every night. And then hopefully one of the other starters, or maybe Tony Jones off the bench, can provide that third offensive scorer for the Warriors.
That's Tony Heckman, nearly lost it. Slapped out of bounds off of Kevin Stoner. Warriors will inbound.
Got to watch Kevin Stoner a little bit last year in 9th grade, and he's a fine basketball player.
Brandon Streeter too hard off the glass. Scramble for it, and Streeter comes up with it. Pull up, no, off the front rim. Zimmerman yanks it down and is fouled by Reka.
Chris being very active on the offensive boards, going for that rebound, just reached over a little bit. Not a bad foul, but Chris has to watch his fouls. He's been in foul trouble just about every game so far this year, and they can't afford to lose him. Gettysburg gets very small when either Reka or Henry come off the court.
Three-point attempt is short by Tony Heckman. Streeter went for the bounce pass, intercepted by Buchanan. 2-0, just underway here from the Wigwam. And Henry yanked it down, lost it, but Reka there to control, and Graham away on a semi-break. Streeter again too hard off the glass, but Josiah Henry there for the tip-in. Very nice left-handed tip.
Great hustle by Josiah. He was involved in the rebounding on this end, filled the right lane, hustled all the way down, didn't get the pass, but he did knock in the tip. Maybe Brandon Streeter might have missed a pass on that one. I don't know whether it was Brian Lindsay or Chris Reka. Looked like they were open on the left wing, and maybe Brandon should have dumped it off instead of taking the shot.
Yeah, they had a man advantage. It looked like a 4-on-2, 4-on-3, and although last game out, Streeter torched the Nets for 33 against the Greyhounds of Shippensburg. And you mentioned Streeter and Lindsay. They've got to get them both consistent and both scoring in every contest. They've kind of been up and down through the first 4 games, and I think that's something that Coach Dooley's looking for, a little scoring rhythm.
Other than the first game up at Spring Grove, it's been pretty much one or the other, and they need both. And there's a nice pass and 2 points for Zimmerman.
Yeah, you're right. They combined for 42 against Spring Grove, but after that it was Lindsay big against Skyland, and then Streeter big against Shippensburg. Graham called for the travel. The officials, Gettysburg's own Jim Weichert and Ed Schindeldecker. 4-2 Warriors, 5:16 to go in the opening quarter.
Gettysburg straight man-to-man every trip so far. And right now, Buchanan, we talked about keys as they're shooting. They're 0 for 2 from the three-point arc.
Tony Heckman and Henry called on a push on Zimmerman.
Just heard something I hate to hear when that call was made. Somebody from the Buchanan side, whether it was a coach or a fan, yelled, "Good call, Ed." And always hate to hear the other team knowing the officials by their first names.
Yeah, that can be problematic. That's Derek Heckman dishing to brother Tony. Pull-up jumper is short. Inbound. That wasn't an air ball. It glanced off the iron, but
Actually,
barely.
I think it glanced off the bottom of the net was about all it hit.
Regardless, it's Warrior ball.
Now here's what Gettysburg expected to see from Buchanan, a little 2-3 zone.
Graham penetrates, pulls up, and fires short. Derek Heckman runs down the rebound in the corner. Stoner is wide, and Streeter with a yank. Graham pulls up for 3. He was on the line. His left foot was on the line, and it's a 2-point basket, 6-2 Warriors.
Yeah, that was a strange play. Mike went to throw a pass. The passing lane was covered, so he threw the ball at the basket, and it went in.
He almost had to do that to avoid the travel call, and was lucky enough to tickle the twine. Brian Lindsay, too hard off the back rim, yanked down by Tony Heckman. Zimmerman on a follow, no. Reka slapped it away, but Graham called for the travel.
That's a good call. Mike Graham trying to keep the ball in bounds, was going to go behind the back and got it stuck. And here comes Mike Heckman and Otis Woolbright into the game. Woolbright is in for Reka, and Heckman looks like he's replacing 22. That's Andy Stoner.
Andy Stoner seems like he's been around forever. He is a senior. Woolbright with a near steal. Mike Heckman fends him off with the left hand. And Woolbright called for the foul.
Yeah, that's tough, Jeff. As you said, it looked like Heckman got away with a little push there earlier in that series, but the referee didn't call that one. And he did make a good call on the call he did make. Otis did block him with the body.
We are Adams Community Television, Channel 25 on your Salmons dial. Local sports in your living room every Monday night. It all starts at 7. And the Rockets throw it away.
Heckman was looking for Heckman and failed to make the connection there.
Lindsay Streeter is fouled by Stoner, and he'll shoot a pair.
That's a set play that Gettysburg runs off that sideline inbounds. They kick it to the corner. Brandon Streeter comes off a pick on the weak side, and they look for the quick basket. Buchanan defensed it fairly well. They forced the pass too far under the basket, but unfortunately Stoner got himself up in the air and came down for the foul.
Jim Dooley, the head coach for the Warriors. His assistant is Mike Lilly. At the junior high level, also helping out are Eric Maitland, Chad Mott, and Steve Wiles.
And Troy Kessel.
That's right, Troy Kessel, not in the program, but #1 in your heart if you're a recent Gettysburg grad. He's a gritty ball player, and hopefully he's going to instill some of those qualities in his players. I'll have to make sure they mention that Troy's name is not in the program. For Buchanan, Dick Heckman is the mentor. His aides, Mike Heckman, John Lum, Ralph Brandt, Gary Vink, and Craig Hagee. Second foul on Reka?
No, actually it was on Woolbright.
All right.
And again, another tough call. Looked like Mike Heckman pushed him off.
Reka is at least back in the game. Nice follow by Zimmerman, 8-4 Warriors.
Zimmerman has all 4 of the Buchanan points to this point. They need something from the outside.
He seems to play well against the Warriors. I think he had a big game last year in that league championship, but I could be mistaken.
I think you're right, Jeff. In fact, looking at the scouting report, one thing Jim Dooley said was, this guy killed us last year, and he was right. Zimmerman had a very nice game off the bench last year.
I think he was their high scorer in that game. That was actually the first of that weekend series where Buchanan won, and then the Warriors came back and won the next night.
That's right. We probably did the wrong game that weekend, Jeff. The game we did turned into a foul shooting contest, and Buchanan, as I recall, hit something like 21 out of 22. And the next night, Gettysburg came back and won a real exciting high school basketball game, which included holding the basketball for about 3 minutes of running time.
Nice left by Lindsay, a little short with it. Buchanan saves it in. Mike Heckman looking to run the break and try to draw Buchanan within a deuce.
These officials do not know the offensive foul call, apparently.
Three-point attempt by Derek Heckman is short. Tony Jones on the wing. Nice give and go. Graham to Jones, and he's fouled.
That's where Tony Jones may be his best. He's very good in the open court. He's a very good finisher when he slashes to the basket. And on that play, Tony Jones is left-handed, so coming on the left wing there, that's his strong side.
Good recognition by Graham, too. He didn't put the ball to the floor. He got it right back to the man for the easy layup, and Jones drew the foul.
Yeah, neither player put the ball on the floor. That's textbook fast break. John Wooden would have been proud of that one.
11-4 Warriors, under 2 minutes to go in the opening period. Our much ballyhooed statisticians include Tom Terrific, Tom Sixes, Adam Kiefer, and Chris Mathias doing the job with the numbers tonight. Ill-advised heave, to say the least, by Tony Heckman.
I guess he was trying to draw a foul. Again, it looked like an offensive foul that wasn't called. Then Tony came back and reached in and slapped here and didn't get the call here.
really drew glass. 11-4. Nice pass to Lindsey. Excellent recognition by Mike Graham. He went over the defense on the lob. Lindsey with it, good hands, negotiated space for himself inside, made the layup, and was fouled. And now the Warriors by 9.
Yeah, Gettysburg's doing a very nice job executing offensively, and Buchanan just can't hit an outside shot. Right now they're 0 for 4 from the three-point arc.
And that's 4 points for Lindsey. 1:11 to go in the quarter. No, but Reka there for the follow. He was fouled. He'll shoot a pair.
Trying to see who that call was on.
I think they got Sean Zimmerman over the top.
Didn't look like 5-0 when he signaled it. It may have been on 22. It may have been on Stoner.
Yeah, he was in front. He was probably in the more likely position to foul Reka. Zimmerman really didn't look like he got much of him from behind, and Chris hits the first.
Yeah, it looked like Zimmerman had a nice clean block from behind. Couldn't really see what Stoner was doing in front, but the official was right there.
Too hard off the back rim, and Mike Heckman, smallest man on the floor, comes down with a rebound. Nice double pump off glass for 2.
Yeah, Heckman's a very tough competitor, and looks like he and Mike Graham are having some words.
He says, "What are you, a linebacker?" And Mike Graham replies, "Yes, I am."
All conference linebacker, as a matter of fact.
Streeter for the tray. No, another yank by Mike Heckman.
Well, with a lot of assists there from Sean Zimmerman.
And Streeter called for the blocking foul, so Mike Heckman to the stripe to shoot 2.
I think we can pretty much assume with this officiating crew that anytime there's contact on a drive, it's going to be a foul on the defender.
Reka sits down, and Henry back in. So Tony Jones will get an extended stint here as Coach Dooley tries to keep his big men fresh and out of foul trouble.
Well, that's unusual for Heckman. He's normally a very good foul shooter. Gettysburg with 33 seconds left. Heard Coach Dooley on the sideline calling for one shot. Let's see if they run that clear out to the far side for the three-point shot for either Streeter or Lindsey.
Heckman hits 1 of 2. It's a 14-7 Warrior lead. Heckman's got 3 on the night. Warriors move it around the perimeter, and Graham will try to make something happen here with 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Nice look, Streeter. Too soft was Josiah Henry. Rebound by Justin Dovey. And the prayer was well short, so the quarter ends. Gettysburg leads James Buchanan 14-7.
That's a little different end of time play for Gettysburg. Instead of looking for the outside shot that time, they ran a little back screen for Josiah Henry. Good pass, excellent hands by Josiah. Unfortunately, he was sort of falling away on the shot and couldn't get enough of it to get it up to the rim. Fairly balanced scoring for Gettysburg so far in the first quarter. Brian Lindsey with 4, Streeter 2, Henry 2, Reka 1, Graham 2, and Tony Jones with 3 points off the bench. For Buchanan, Mike Heckman has 3, Zimmerman has 4, and that's it. No other scoring for Buchanan. And as we mentioned at the top, keep an eye on three-point shooting. Adam Kiefer's got the stat on that for Buchanan in the first half. They're 0 for 4. Gettysburg 0 for 1 in the three-point shooting.
Brandon Streeter leading a rebounder for the Warriors with 4. And Jones will stay in the contest.
Yeah, Tony had a nice segment there. He played good defense on Heckman, and he had that very nice finish on that fast break.
Special thanks, as always, to our sports underwriter, the pub and restaurant on the square in Gettysburg. Open 7 days a week for your enjoyment. It's where good friends meet.
Here's the set play for Streeter again, but was broken up by one of those Heckmans.
Tony.
They all look alike to me.
You got Heckmans and Stoners, and where's this? And then you got Dovey and Zimmerman.
Yeah, I don't know how they get on the floor.
Graham fires for 3, and he's got it.
Nothing but net. Excellent shot by Mike Graham.
5 points for Mike Graham to lead all scorers. Dovey can't get it to fall, and Graham is there for the carom. Yeah, it's
That's a
consistent.
good call. Mike Heckman moved about 6 feet over as Mike Graham went by him, and that was a good call.
Seth Westbury replaces Mike Heckman in the lineup. Warriors to inbound with a 10-point lead. Zimmerman erased it.
Excellent block there by Zimmerman. That play opened up nicely for Brandon, but Zimmerman came over, helped out, and made a nice block. See if they run the same play.
Gettysburg already in the bonus with 7:35 to go in the second quarter. Certainly one stat that bodes well for the Warriors. Tony Jones for three, too hard off the back rim.
Nice rebound there by Kevin Stoner, the younger brother.
Streeter called for the foul, and Tony Heckman able to draw at that time. I'm not sure there was a whole lot of contact. He really had a tough angle to the hoop, but he'll go to the line.
Brandon may have bailed him out of a tough situation there. I'm not sure Tony Heckman would have been able to get that shot off inbounds, even without the contact from Brandon Streeter.
Second foul on Brandon. It kicks out for Heckman. Westbury and Derek Heckman check back in. And Sean Zimmerman will take a breather.
Westbury has some hair this year, Jeff. I remember last year in the playoff series, Mr. Westbury looked like the Kojak look.
Now he looks like the top of Daniel Boone's cap up there. Without the tail.
And Gettysburg will be shooting now for the rest of the half.
Jones to shoot the 1-and-1. He's got it. 4 points now for Tony Jones.
I shouldn't say this because it's a definite jinx, but Gettysburg throughout the last 2 or 3 years really done an excellent job from the foul line.
No jinx there as Jones cans them both, and he'll take a blow. Rake it back into the fray.
Tony did a great job off the bench there, played about 5-6 minutes, contributed 7 points, some good defense, or 5 points, excuse me, some good defense and some excellent hustle.
Mike Graham with a little one-man press. He wants to give Westbury something to think about as he brings it across the line. Zimmerman back into the game is fouled by Josiah Henry.
Kind of a silly foul. Zimmerman was taking a tough shot, turning the wrong way, and again, Josiah bailed him out, and I believe that's a second foul on Josiah.
Both teams now in the bonus with 7:07 to go in the second quarter. So we may be watching a lot of free throw shooting until the half.
And so far tonight, Gettysburg's been making theirs, and Buchanan is not.
Zimmerman hits 1 of 2. It's a 19-8 Gettysburg lead. Westbury threw it away.
That was a tough play Brian Lindsay tried to do. He tried to dribble between 2 defenders. Maybe it would have been better to kick that ball ahead a little bit. There's a nice break of the press that time.
Zimmerman leads Buchanan with 5 points. They're having trouble finding the cylinder. Ooh, bounce pass by Graham, and Henry misplayed it.
They put Josiah in a tough position with that pass. There was a little angle there, but frankly, if Josiah had caught it, there wouldn't have been much he could do with it. Perhaps it should have been dropped in a little bit sooner from either Brian Lindsay or Mike Graham when Josiah Henry had the defender on his hip.
Stoner with a pull-up from the baseline. He's got it. 19-10.
Yeah, nice little jump shot there.
And that was Derek Heckman. I think I said Stoner. Derek Heckman. So somebody's going to be shooting a 1-and-1 here. It looks like Brian Lindsay.
Another foul on Derek Heckman. Derek sort of reached in sideways. If he'd set his feet, he might have drawn a charge there, but instead he turned and tried to reach for the ball.
So you have 25 fouls to give, and the Heckman and Stoner families alone.
And the way things are going so far, we may see 25 of them.
Woolbright re-enters for Josiah Henry. Will alter the matchup slightly, and Andy Stoner gets ready to check back in.
And Josiah's playing with a bad knee, and it's tough for him to get up and down the court. So he tries to give Josiah some blows every so often, 2-3 minutes at a time, and then let him rest that knee a little bit.
Lindsay rattles it down. 21-10. He's got 7. 6. Tom Sixes gives us the digital update. And there are times when we have a communication breakdown. Another rebound for Streeter. Woolbright on the break. Nice hustle by Andy Stoner to slap it away.
Tremendous hustle by Stoner that time. Came from nowhere to make that play.
Heckman bounces it out. Raker with a reeb. And Mike Graham will reset the offense.
Good patience that time by Gettysburg.
Graham had to jack it up after the Tony Hackman hand in his face. Threw up an air ball. And now it's Heckman at the other end, fouled by Brandon Streeter.
That's the third on Brandon. That's one thing Gettysburg can't afford is Brandon Streeter, Brian Lindsay in foul trouble.
Well, with 5:22 to go in the half, I'm surprised Coach Dooley's leaving him in there.
I'd hate to say that Tommy Sixes is wrong, but that might be. I keep looking over to the scorer's table, see if the scorer gives any indication to coach of the third foul, but I'm not seeing anything right now.
That would be a scoop. Tom Sixes mistaken.
And it looks like they're taking Derek Heckman out of the game because of the shirt rule. His shirt was hanging out, and the rule is you have to come out and tuck it in.
You can't tuck it in while you're standing on the court?
Actually, maybe a blood rule. Now I see the trainer coming over looking at his elbow. But no, actually you're not. If your shirt's untucked, you can be forced out of the game to tuck it in. PIAA and its wisdom.
At least they don't fine the players like they do in the NFL.
That's true. The fashion police, though, have reached the PIAA.
I think Boomer Esiason got fined $1,500 for letting his T-shirt show the other week. Gets a little ridiculous.
I heard the T-shirt was a little dirty, and that was probably the main reason for that fine. If Boomer had his laundry done, it might not have been such a severe fine.
Go Warriors!
Yeah, and considering they were playing on AstroTurf, I'm not sure what the explanation was there. Just 5 minutes and change to go in the half. The Warriors by 10, 21-11. Streeter for 3. Oh, rattled around and out.
That one was 3/4 of the way down and spun back out on him. Chris Raka doing a nice job fighting for that offensive rebound. And here Jim Dooley talking as the gym got quiet, saying, Mr. Official, please watch the foul after the shot on those threes. Looked like Mike Graham may have got hit on one a little earlier, and Coach Dooley thought there may have been a foul on. Oh, there was a real push-off by Zimmerman. He took both hands, pushed Chris Raka in the back, and got space. But unfortunately, neither official had the angle we have to see that.
And he somehow knocked it down. Oh, no, nice try by Raka because he was losing the ball. He knew Streeter was there, but intercepted by Buchanan. They have a chance to cut it to 6 or fewer with 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Tony Heckman, pull up Jay, no. Graham is there.
And tackled by Zimmerman. 1st and 10, Graham ball. May have been a clip also, but I didn't see a flag.
First foul on Zimmerman. Thank you, Tom. Again, special thanks to Dan Dooley providing the lens work here on extremely short notice. Dan with an ACT reprise. Always happy to have our alums back and helping out.
And there's a lot of alums in the building tonight, Jeff. It's Christmas vacation for a lot of the college students to see Ryan Raffensperger, Shannon Trossel. A lot of the alumni back tonight watching.
They have a special place in their heart for Jim Dooley's Running Warriors, and they've come to show their support. Stoner with a travel.
Nice defense there by Brian Lindsay, helping out and cutting off the baseline.
4:04 to go in the half.
And it looks like we're back at the blood rule again, this time with one of the Heckmans. Is that going out? No, it's Andy Stoner, actually.
Well, it's a good rule, but in this game, it is a contact sport, contrary to what some people might believe, and there's a lot of little flesh wounds of the fingers and hands that can bleed, and they just force you out of the contest for a moment or two.
Like it's up under the chin, and Coach Heckman is wondering how that happened without a foul being called.
He might have impaled himself.
May cut himself shaving, too, but I doubt it.
Woolbright with Mike Heckman on him. Buchanan in a tough man-to-man. Streeter is short. Josiah Henry back in the game. Can't get the rebound, and Mike Heckman controls. Tony Heckman with a pull-up. No. Zimmerman with a follow. Yes. So Zimmerman with 8 points leads all scorers.
Zimmerman is keeping him in the game right now.
And I stand corrected, he's got 9 out of 15. So he does flourish against Gettysburg, and it's 22-15 timeout. Coach Dooley, a chance for a confab.
Well, this is a strange game. Gettysburg has looked like they've been in control the whole game. They've had a working margin. It's been up to 11 a couple of times, been down to 8, back to 11, back and forth. Right now it's down to 7 points. You have a working margin, but you need to take that one more step. You need to expand it to beyond 15. At that point, it really becomes an uphill climb for the other team. As long as Buchanan can stay anywhere from 10 to 7 to 8 points down at halftime, they're definitely still in the ballgame.
3:27 to go. We are Adams Community Television, and if you'd like to get involved with your local TV station, give us a call at 334-3000. It's a call that could change your life. And coming up Wednesday night, Act Vision, Ray Gacker's special look at the Adams County world around us. I'll be on at 8 with Sports Corner, hoping to stir up a little controversy on our phone-in show. Tune in for details.
What's the number there, Jeff?
334-3000. Woolbright, nice spin move, and then threw it away.
Well, actually, Woolbright carried the ball badly at this side. Didn't get called for it. Maybe justice was done there as that pass went out to Jim Dorn, is now somewhere up by Kefauver School.
The basketball gods have spoken, as they so often do. Looked like Zimmerman shuffled, but he got away with it, and Streeter called for a push, and he will sit down now. Tough call against Brandon Streeter, and he might be on the pines till halftime. That's got to be at least his third. We had it unofficially as a fourth, but we must have been wrong.
Well, let's hope we're wrong. Otherwise, Brandon Streeter's in a lot of trouble. But it was a tough call. Brandon's a good rebounder. I think he leads Gettysburg with 5 so far. I'm not sure what's going on now. They're signaling everybody off the line for some reason. I'm not sure what's happening here.
TV timeout.
Well, since we don't do commercials, I doubt if it's that. I see a lady with a camcorder on the Buchanan side, but she doesn't look like she's running any commercials right now. Actually, it looks like a blood on the floor timeout. We have the uniform police, and we have the good housekeeping seal of approval here now as they clean the blood off the floor. I think we owe this all to Magic Johnson.
The so-called magic rule in its many permutations and combinations, and the rule makes sense. Although if they have to get out there with a microscope, I'm not sure if they're ever going to get it totally sanitary.
Unless they revarnish the gym maybe, but my guess is that it adds some time onto the game. Well, Gettysburg now seems to have successfully frozen the foul shooter. Let's see if he's able to come off the bench and hit the foul shots. Kind of an unusual situation here for Tony Heckman. You don't usually shoot fouls after a minute and a half.
And you can camouflage a lot of blood down in that dark paint here at the Wigwam.
It is a very dark maroon and would match up well with most blood types.
So Heckman cans them both, and we got a 5-point game, 22-17. Warriors led by 11 at one point. Henry tied up by Stoner. Possession arrow to Buchanan.
Well, I guess if there was really a jump ball, they would have had to thrown up Josiah's elbow because it looked that's what Stoner had a hold of.
Nice steal by Jones.
And made a nice decision not forcing anything, too.
Warriors reload. Graham guarded by Mike Heckman. Woolbright to Jones at the top of the key.
This is a time when Brian Lindsay needs to provide some offense for Gettysburg.
There he is on a stick back.
I guess he heard us.
Yeah, he sort of disappears at certain points in the game, and then he emerges with a vengeance, and he had a nice stick back there. But I think Coach Dooley might say Brian still doesn't realize how good he is and how good he can be.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Jeff. The Goretti game last Saturday was a good example. Brian was playing very well and then just disappeared for about a 6-7 minute stretch of the ball game. That's a third foul on Woolbright, and sub came in very quickly for him.
3 quick fouls, so Reka back in there. We got Reka, Henry, Lindsay, Tony Jones, and Mike Graham. Blocked by Henry.
Josiah Henry took a look. Oh, now there's a push, and why is that not a technical foul? 32 reached over, took both hands, shoved Chris Reka in the chest. The official saw it. He ran in to break it up. That is obviously an intentional foul. There's no reason why it's not called. The officials can't let that go on in high school basketball. This is not the NBA. You just can't have that happening in high school basketball.
Would have been an unnecessary roughness call in football. And maybe a makeup call. I don't know what that was.
I didn't see. It looked like a moving screen underneath on Zimmerman. And that's his second foul.
And Ed is taking some heat now.
Oh.
Timeout. Coach Heckman is livid about something. 2:05 to go in the half.
Technical, I think, Jeff.
Warriors by 6.
Keep an eye on Coach Heckman.
Dick Heckman in the early stages of Mount Vesuvius, getting ready to blow his top. Managed to keep a lid on it to avoid the tee, but...
And frankly, I don't know what he's yelling about. There was an obvious push, and the intentional foul was not called underneath. Then the inbounds play, there was a foul called. It looked like there was a lot of contact. And frankly, I'm not sure what he's so upset about. Scotty Kump coming in for Gettysburg, replacing Josiah Henry.
Lindsay's got 8 for the Warriors. Zimmerman leads all scorers with 9. So this is a game where, due to the preponderance of whistles, Coach Dooley, and for that matter, Coach Heckman may have to go deep into their benches before this one's over.
And frankly, Gettysburg does not have a very deep bench. Gettysburg plays 8 men, and frankly, that's about it.
Reka 1 of 2, and Jones slaps it out. Warriors
by Tony. You're trying to slap it off the backboard, maybe get the second rebound.
just tried to keep it alive. 25-18, Warriors by 7.
Some sort of special play here, double screen down. See if they try to dump it inside to Zimmerman. They look for Zimmerman, and there's a hold call made on Reka, and that's Chris's third foul. And whatever's going to happen out here, second foul, I'm told by Tom. Whatever's happening out here, it's going to be called very, very close for the next minute 54. I think the officials realized this game was getting out of hand, and they're going to call any touch for the next minute and a half and try to get this game back under control.
Andy Stoner with some styptic pencil applied to that shaving wound, and he's back into the lineup. Kump with a rebound.
Yeah, nice rebound. Tony Heckman tried to scoot all the way around. Scott Kump followed him all the way, kept the box on him, made a nice rebound.
Good pass, Reka to Lindsay. Nice touch off the glass, and he's fouled. Brian Lindsay in double figures with 10.
And it looked like that foul was on 13, Tony Heckman. How many on him there, Tom? Just 2.
Warriors starting to look for Lindsay.
And as we said, with Brandon Streeter on the bench, Josiah Henry on the bench, Brian Lindsay has to step up big in these next couple minutes.
He's got 11 to lead all scorers, and it's back to a 10-point lead. Good job by the Warriors restoring order as most of their advantage had dissipated.
Tony Jones made a very nice switch there to keep Heckman from being able to penetrate, and Scott Kump hustles down that loose ball rebound.
2 rebounds in a minute for Scott Kump. Nice play by Graham, and he's called for the charge. Heckman stayed firm, and Graham barreled into him.
Heckman took a dive and got the call.
Graham tried to pull up. He had a nice dish to Jones, but called for the charge.
You can tell they're taking a dive on the charge when they scream before the contact is made, and Mike Heckman did on that play.
No shooting foul on that. Tony Heckman, guarded by Jones, is wide, and Lindsay pulls it down. Warriors look to run. Nice no-look pass. Mike Graham to Tony Jones.
Excellent pass. For some reason, Tony took that with his right hand. There's a charge. Has to be, and it is. And that's the third foul on Tony Heckman. Brian Lindsay did a nice job setting up in there, waited from the time that Heckman hit mid-court, and did an excellent job holding his position.
Tony Jones with 7. He's made excellent use of his minutes here. Warriors' biggest lead of the night. They lead by 12, 30-18 with 52 ticks to go.
Yeah, Gettysburg has sort of held off that one little run that Buchanan made, and it's important now to see if they can get it to 15 before the half.
Nice pass, Streeter Lindsay.
And a great screen inside there by Scott Kump.
I said Streeter Lindsay, I meant Lindsay to Reka. Reka with a nice left-hand layup. And Derek Heckman travels. Reka has 4.
Mike Graham, an excellent defensive play there, stepped in front, took away the passing lane, and he wasn't able to throw it in the basket like Mike Graham was earlier in the game.
Warriors might look for the last shot here with a 14-point edge. It would keep Zimmerman on the sideline, but they might want to get him in there and get him his 3rd foul. Not much time, though. 10 seconds to go in the half. Graham with Westbury on him. Pulls up and fires for 3. Too hard off the back rim. Reka, no. Lindsay follows. Yes, at the buzzer. Counted.
We talked about Brian Lindsay having to step up big those last couple minutes. He definitely did. Some rebounds, some points, some nice passing. Brian Lindsay really came through that last 2.5 minutes or so of the first half, and that lead is now up to 16 points, and that's a good working margin.
34-18 Warriors with productivity at the wire. They enter the locker room with a 16-point lead. We'll be right back with Roy on Round Ball. We are at the half. The Warriors seem to have things well in hand with a 16-point lead. Time for Roy on Round Ball. What do you have in store this week, Roy?
Well, before we get to that, I just want to, you said well in hand. I remember the last time maybe we said that at halftime. But a young man come out and score, what, about 25 points in the third quarter, so let's not go that far. But Gettysburg has a nice working margin. They've earned it. They've played well the first half. In terms of Roy on Round Ball this afternoon or this evening, we want to get a little serious. Usually we have fun with Roy on Round Ball. We talk about interesting things, basketball, college, whatever. Tonight we want to talk a little bit about something that's not quite so fun. We spoke a little bit in the first half about alumni's back tonight, seeing a lot of the ex-players, a lot of the ex-students back to see the Warriors tonight, and that's great to see. One man who's not back tonight, Mark Raffensperger, is off playing basketball at Scranton, and good luck to Mark, and that's great. One other young man who's not back tonight is a young man by the name of Greg Richardson. And unfortunately, the reason Greg's not back tonight is a lot more tragic than the good news about Mark Raffensperger. Greg, many of you watch the broadcast regularly, or maybe this is your first time on ACT. Greg Richardson was a fine basketball player at Gettysburg High School the last 2 years. Spent his freshman and sophomore year at Fairfield, where he did a great job in the smaller school program. Came to Gettysburg in his junior year. Adjusted very well to big-time basketball, if you will, Group 4 basketball in the Mid-Penn Conference. Greg was one of the leaders on the team last year as a senior, have double-figure score, pretty close to double-figure in rebounds, the leading rebounder on the team. Always played good, tough defense and always played hard. Greg had the whole future ahead of him. He had a place to go play basketball in college. He had a tryout coming up for baseball, which maybe was Greg's best sport. He was a tremendous first baseman and did some high school pitching here at Gettysburg. But quite unfortunately, last summer, Greg was on vacation with his family down in Florida. The van that he was traveling in, along with the rest of his family, was involved in an accident. A person who has been tested over the legal limit of alcohol, hasn't been a trial yet, so we can't say for sure he was a drunk driver, but he certainly tested over, came across a median strip on a roadway, struck the van. Fortunately, almost all the Richardsons were all right. Tragically, Greg Richardson was not, and he died as a result of that accident. I guess when we're talking about holiday spirit, we're talking about alumni coming back, the message we all get from that is that please, if you're going to drink for the holidays at all, please do not drive your car. There's too many fine young men like Greg Richardson that have lost their lives in these types of accidents. We wish that Greg were here with us. We wish we could watch Greg in college basketball or professional baseball, wherever he would have gone. A man who had too much to drink took that chance away from all of us. Feel very deeply for the Richardson family, for his mom, dad, his brothers, the rest of the family. We wish Greg were here with us tonight.
We do indeed. Some sobering thoughts here at the holidays, and our hearts go out with all the Richardsons. This has not been an easy time, and I'm sure it won't be an easy Christmas or an easy New Year for them either, but our hearts are with them.
Well, you used the right word, Jeff, a sobering time. Let's hope that out of the tragedy of Greg Richardson, some people decide to stay sober.
Thanks, Roy. Back to the action. We'll stay right with the call. Dan Dooley providing the lens work. Mike Graham to inbound. Gettysburg will control, and Streeter starts the second half with those 3 fouls.
Yeah, Brian Lindsay had a nice shot there off a little half-court trap. Unfortunately, it didn't go down for him. But Gettysburg did get good inside rebounding position, and Buchanan was forced to slap the ball out of bounds. Gettysburg looking for that skip pass right now, but there it is inside to Reka, and a nice turnaround. Excellent post feed by Mike Graham. Not only got the ball to Reka, but got it to him in a position where he could do some damage.
Reka with 6.
Yeah, top scorer for Gettysburg at the half, Brian Lindsay with 13, Tony Jones 7, 6 for Mike Graham, 4 for Reka, 2 for Henry, 2 for Streeter.
Zimmerman couldn't walk the dog, and Reka's there for the board.
Perhaps the most telling stat in the first half was Buchanan 0 for 4 from three-point range.
Beautiful penetration by Graham. Reka with 8 as he converts another left-hand layup.
Yeah, Mike Graham's having an excellent game for Gettysburg right now. He is putting a lot of pressure on with the dribble and is making it pay off in points for his teammates.
Streeter.
3. Oh, in and out again. But what a rebound by Lindsay and a great touch pass. Unfortunately, Mike Graham couldn't finish, but a great play there by Brian Lindsay.
Couple of rim rattlers by the Warriors. Stoner too hard with it, and Graham with another rebound. Reka might be thinking double-double here. And Brian Lindsay called for the push, a little bit of...
Good call. That was a good call. Brian was going for the pass. Buchanan player stepped in front very nicely. Brian couldn't reach for the ball, but he was able to reach for the Buchanan player. A good call. That's only Brian Lindsay's first foul, so certainly he's in no trouble. Looking quickly at the scores for Buchanan, it's the Zimmerman show. He's got 9. The rest of the team only combined has 9. Mike Heckman 4, Tony Heckman 3, Derek Heckman 2. So it's Zimmerman 9, Heckman's 9, and that's the whole 18 points for the Buchanan ball club at this point.
Stoner short with it, but dives on a loose ball. Graham kept it alive, and Lindsay called for the walk.
Good call. Pass was a little bit behind Brian, and he tried to get going a little bit too quick.
6:16 to go in the third. Streeter with 5 rebounds.
And Chris Reka's got to be approaching that. He's pulled down a couple already this half.
Reka also with 5, according to Tom, 6s. Zimmerman, no. Reka with rebound number 6, and he's fouled by Zimmerman.
And Zimmerman with foul number 3. Little 1-3-1 trap. Kind of passive with the trap, actually. See if they trap harder in the corner. There's Henry. Oh, beautiful jump shot.
Henry for 2, and it's 40-18.
And there, Heckman or Stoner, one of those players, I can't tell them apart. Just dribble the ball right off his foot and out of bounds. It's Kevin Stoner.
Well, right now, Buchanan is an underachieving team. There seems to be discord, and the chemistry is just not there with this squad. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, they just don't seem to be running on all cylinders. They haven't really made an outside jump shot yet today. We said they're 0 for the three-point stripe. They haven't hit anything from 15 feet even. The only baskets they've got are on slashes on Zimmerman inside and some foul shots. And defensively, they're giving up an awful lot of easy shots for Gettysburg. Gettysburg's been able to get it inside to Chris Reka, who's got 8 points. That might be his high for the season already, pretty close to it. And Josiah Henry's got 4 points also. And at the start of this half, Gettysburg's just been absolutely dominating the boards. Every rebound, offensive and defensive, Gettysburg's either getting or getting their hands on at least.
I think Chris Reka had 11 against Shippensburg, and Tom 6s. Oh, he agrees with me. I feel blessed.
But it's early in the game yet. Chris will get there.
Yeah, headed toward a career high, perhaps.
And it's nice to see. Nobody has worked harder this summer than Chris Reka. Has really made himself into a very valuable asset to this Gettysburg team. Sometimes you watch him and you think you're watching Troy Kessel from last year.
Henry for 3. He's got it. The big man feels it.
And Brandon Streeter picked up a very bad foul. He pushed after the basket. That's his 4th foul. And that's just the play that a senior like Brandon can't afford to make.
Yeah, Brandon Streeter just can't seem to get going.
Yeah, the basket did count, so Gettysburg is up by 25.
Streeter with only 2 points, but he has 5 boards. Unfortunately, 4 fouls.
Yeah, Brandon has played a nice floor game. He hasn't hit his shots. But unfortunately, that's a real problem for Gettysburg with Brandon Streeter out. Right now, it's Henry and Reka. 4 points for Reka inside, 5 points for Henry, who's an inside player, but he's hit him from the outside. But the 2 big men for Gettysburg have all 9 of the first points in the half.
Henry with 7 for the contest. Mike Heckman fiddling and diddling, and now it's Derek Heckman. Lost the handle. Looks over to the sideline as though to suggest he was fouled, but I think he just lost the handle.
There didn't look to be a hand anywhere near him. It just looked like it slipped off his hand. Maybe he's undecided between a shot and a pass and didn't do either.
Graham gets it across the timeline.
Nice screen by Chris Reka allowed that to happen. And Dovey's up playing Justin Henry now.
That was Rob Miller in Henry's face.
Miller, I'm sorry.
Forced the turnover. But Buchanan trails by 25.
What was the name of that gentleman last Christmas tournament, Jeff?
I'm trying to remember.
Scott Graybill?
Graybill, yeah, that's it. Yeah, unconscious. I wonder if he woke up yet.
He's not in the gym, I hope, tonight.
Oh, nice play by Chris Reka.
And I don't know, it looked like a very nice play. I thought Chris got rid of the ball before his feet came down. Official didn't see it that way. Very heady play by Chris Reka, not only making the block, saving the ball, but throwing it off a Buchanan player that was standing out of bounds.
Perhaps he launched off the line, but yeah, it looked like a good play. Once he was airborne, he found a man standing out of bounds and threw it off his body.
That's the second foul on Brian Lindsay, and frankly, that was not a good foul. Brian didn't move his feet, and as a result of that, he had to reach in.
Warriors staying a man-to-man. Andy Stoner pulls up short. Tony Jones ahead to Graham. Nice bounce pass. Back to Jones, and he's got it.
Incredible quickness there by Tony Jones. When Mike Graham threw that pass, it looked like it was going to be about 6 feet in front of him, and somehow Tony got there and made the play. There's Tony again on front of the break.
Jones with 11 in limited playing time.
Looked like Tony might have been trying to set up a dunk there. He did the wise thing and laid it in.
Better to have the field goal, and the Warriors are pulling away here. They lead by 29, 47-18, and Graham commits the foul.
Yeah, Mike Heckman seems to be trying to do it himself at this point. He's controlling the ball almost totally on offense, looking to drive and score on almost every possession. And frankly, that's not a way for Buchanan to come back and win this game. 2 fouls on Mike Graham, we're told. May have been the first point this half for Buchanan, I think, Jeff. 4.5 minutes into the half, and they still haven't had a field goal.
You're right, it was 34-18 at the break. So the Warriors have outscored them 13-2 here in the third quarter.
There was a nice bit of hand checking, which is supposed to be called this year. It was not in this game. That's
3-point effort. Jeff Brandt, nothing doing. I had a conversation with George Petrie earlier in the week. His brother Jeff is now the GM for Sacramento. He's telling me the new vogue in the NBA, the hand check is illegal, so now the players use their elbows. I'm not sure if that's progress.
I'm not sure it is either, especially if they have sharp elbows.
It's going to start to look like karate out there. It's already bad enough.
Josiah, Henry going out for Gettysburg. Otis Woolbright in. Mike Graham takes a seat. Scotty Kump comes in.
Kump had a couple of boards in a minute of action in the first half.
A couple of rebounds and an excellent screen that set up an inside shot late in the first half. Finally, Westbury had become very close friends with Otis Woolbright there. He was hugging him, kissing him, giving him a little pat on the back, and finally they called a reach-around foul.
And that's number 1 on Westbury.
Whoa, nice hands, Brian Lindsay. And Scott Kump is mugged. So Clippy will get a chance to make a couple points here.
I'm just taking a guess. Rob Miller was also a football player.
Well, he made a nice tackle.
Kump will shoot 2. First foul on Miller. Scott Kump making the most of his opportunities here tonight.
Yeah, Scott's played some nice minutes tonight. He's done some good things, and frankly, he's been needed because of the foul trouble Gettysburg got into. Scott Kump, if you haven't seen him so far this year and remember our games from last year, looks like a different human being out there. I'm not sure how much weight Scott has lost, but he looks like a tremendously different player.
Good hustle by Reka.
Great hustle by Chris Reka there, fighting with 2 Buchanan players.
So Kump with 2 rebounds and 2 points. Oh, looked like he was fouled, but Brandt got away with it.
Looked like a nice block, actually. I thought Brandt had ball from behind there. Good defensive play. Oh, no. That was not only NBA range, it was barely within the gym. And unfortunately for Mr. Brandt, he walked first.
Yeah, it took him a little too much motion to load the trigger.
Well, perhaps when he looked up and saw how far he was away, he decided he better get in a little bit closer.
Did a little Texas two-step, but called for it. The lead is 29.
Another hand check and not called. Jim Dooley really looking for the team to run an executed offense here. See if they try to get it inside.
Jeff Cook, along with Roy Kiefer from the Wigwam, Dan Dooley providing the camera work. A minute 50 to go in the third. Brandon Streeter still on the bench with 4 fouls. Coming up at the conclusion of this game, amateur rugby action, Old Gaelic and Lancaster. You will not see the game in its entirety. It's a game that Lancaster ended up winning 27-23, but we'll show you most of the first half and maybe a little of the second.
Nothing I like better than a good rugby match, Jeff.
Mix it up in a scrum, eh, my good man?
Pretty scrummy game out there tonight, actually.
Yeah, lots of fouls called.
Brian Lindsay there popped in another jumper. That gives Brian 15. And again, though, it looks for Gettysburg. When Brian scores, Brandon doesn't. Brandon Streeter only has 2.
But Reka and Henry and Jones picking up the slack. Nice block.
Yeah, Brian Lindsay got a hold of that one. And a nice save then, too.
Jones behind the back. Beautiful hang time.
He can really slash to the goal. And really hustle back on defense, too. That's nice sequence there for Tony Jones. Came up with the loose ball, took it hard to the basket, and then really hustled back to get involved defensively. 13 points off the bench for Tony Jones. We talked about Gettysburg needing a third option. Tonight, Tony Jones has been the second option, and Chris Reka, who's in there with 8 points and 7 rebounds, has been that third option.
And Tony Jones with that baker's dozen. I'm not sure he's missed from the field tonight. He's been very accurate. Brad misses the mark. Stepped on the line, couldn't save it.
It would appear that Mr. Brandt is in there for one reason, and he's going to launch a few threes, it looks like.
Well, you talked about the bad health of James Buchanan. It appears they have not yet fully recovered. And this game is not going to promote their overall state of wellness either.
No, I don't think so. In fact, they might need the Clinton healthcare plan after this game is over. Yeah, good call there. Scott Kump a little aggressive going for the rebound. Brian Lindsay made a very nice move there, cutting to the middle. What Brian needs to do, though, is hit hard with 2 feet and go straight up instead of drifting across. That shot is so much tougher if you're drifting through the lane as opposed to if you're going straight up on the shot.
Not a Heckman to be seen on the floor.
Oh, there's still 5 on the bench, though.
Yeah. Great hustle by Stoner, but the ball out of bounds.
A nice little bit of sportsmanship there by Brian Lindsay going over to help him up. It is green ball. Gettysburg's organizing their inbounds, but it is Buchanan basketball.
Always keep our fingers crossed. Hope the ACT cord is not a factor. Luckily, nobody tangled up in it.
The insurance is paid up, Jeff?
Insurance?
How's your house?
House? Why do you ask these tough questions, Roy?
Well, Jeff, I'm a lawyer. You look for the money.
This is not a deep pocket, so forget it, sports fans.
Nice pull-up there by Kevin Stoner. Excellent pull-up and jump shot. That's the play we're talking about with Brian Lindsay being able to perform. 4 seconds, 3, 2, see if Brian knows it. He does not get it off in time, no shot.
Couldn't get it away, but the third quarter, an excellent one for the Warriors as they outscore Buchanan 19-4. They lead by 21 with 8 minutes to go.
Buchanan just had a horrible offensive quarter there. And when you're down 16 points, you can't afford to score 4 points in the next quarter. I see a number of Gettysburg fans beginning to head for the exits already. And I guess they don't see Scott Graybill in uniform either, and they believe it's safe to begin to make their move now.
And Brandon Streeter checked back into the game, so with 4 fouls, Coach Dooley will let him try to pad his scoring average here.
Well, I'm not sure that's why he's putting him back in the ball game. Brandon's had a little tough time shooting tonight. He did down in Goretti on Saturday. Obviously, he didn't have that problem Tuesday night at Shippensburg. But Brandon maybe needs to take a few more shots and try to work himself out of a mini slump. Tom Sixes has got some point totals for us. Lindsay with 15, Jones 13, 8 for Reka, 7 for Josiah Henry, 2 for Streeter, and 2 for Kump. For Buchanan, it's been Mike Heckman with 6, Stoner with 2, Derek Heckman with 2, and Zimmerman still the leading scorer with 9 points.
And Adam Keeper with a poignant observation. James Buchanan still without a successful 3-point launch.
I think they're 0 for 6 or 0 for 7 right now.
Nice steal by Reka.
Chris has played very well. Well, and there he fouled. But that's good hustle again. He reached over the top a little bit, but good hustle by Chris Reka. It's his 3rd foul.
Derek Heckman and Tony Heckman into the game, replacing Jason Martin along with Brandt.
Mike Heckman, though, still on the bench. He was the one that we heard may have been a little bit sick, and he has not played a whole lot of minutes tonight. Yeah. The officials trying to have a little conference there to see whether that ball was touched or not. From our angle, it was pretty plain. That ball is just thrown out of bounds.
Buchanan in the bonus for the remainder of the contest, but it may not be a factor.
I don't think foul shooting is going to be a real big factor here, Jeff. Not with a 31-point lead and 7 minutes to go. Henrys, will he load up again? Nope.
Streeter, too hard off the glass.
Yeah, that's just not a Brandon Streeter jump shot there. Looks like he's just trying a little bit too hard tonight, trying to force things instead of letting things come to him. Another missed 3 for Buchanan.
Heckman, no. Zimmerman there with a follow.
It's 11 points for Zimmerman. It's his first basket this half, though. Gettysburg's done a nice job keeping him off the boards this half.
That was Troy Geip with the effort. Henry, no. And they're going to get Reka again.
I think that's Streeter, and I think that's 5. And Brandon's racing over to the bench. So that's probably the way the call's going to go.
Well,
tough night for Brandon. Only 2 points. But when you combine that with what he did at Shippensburg, he's still averaging 17.5 points for the, I'm sorry, it looks like he may have, 2 points, 5 rebounds. But he's averaging 17.5 for the week, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, he just couldn't get in sync tonight, but luckily Tony Jones has picked up the slack along with Reka and Henry, as you mentioned. Lindsay has been steady.
That foul shot got a lot of hang time. Chris Reka jumped about 3 times for the rebound there, and the ball never did come down.
Zimmerman hits them both. 13, Baker's dozen for Sean Zimmerman.
Gettysburg's done a real nice job handling pressure tonight. Good hustle by Josiah Henry there. Very good hustle.
Tried to beat Derek Heckman to the ball, couldn't do it.
Buchanan fans are yelling they want some kind of foul, but Josiah Henry just reached over him. He never touched him. He just reached right over his head. You can do that when you're 6'5" or 6'6".
Chris Reka on the call. That might be his 4th.
I think that is 4 on Chris, and Jim Dooley asking for a timeout.
Yeah, I think Coach Dooley's going to talk about the fouls. Say, guys, you know, we got the 27-point lead, played a tough defense, but try to avoid some of these hacks.
It's early in the year, and what you don't want to do is pick up bad habits. And this is the kind of game where that can happen. He wants the team to focus on what they're doing, run their offense, play good, solid defense without fouling, pick up good habits to bring you later through the season instead of picking up bad habits that could hurt you in a more important game or a closer game, at least later in the year.
Certainly want to wish everyone the happiest of holidays. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of our loyal ACT viewers. Hope 95 has lots of joy and prosperity for everyone. Special thanks to the pub and restaurant, our sports underwriter.
No changes here as Gettysburg comes back on the floor. They've got the same 5. I noticed Brandon Streeter over behind the scorer's table taking his sock off. Say he has some tape around his foot. I'm not sure if he has a blister or maybe an injury there, but that might account for some of the problems with shooting that Brandon had tonight.
Zimmerman kept alive and Tony Heckman corralled it. Derek Heckman penetrates, pulls up and scores.
Nice shot there, right in the face of Josiah Henry. Josiah contested the shot well, but a very nice shot by Heckman. Great pass by Lindsay.
Nice dish, Lindsay to Reka. Reka in double figures with 10. A chance to tie his career high and finish off the three-pointer.
Told you, Jeff, with 5:50 to go, he's going to get that career high tonight, especially if Brian Lindsay keeps giving him passes like that.
Did a nice job of waiting for the defense to clear, too. Had he gone up in traffic, he still would have drawn the foul, but he never would have converted. Good decision.
Going out after that foul. That may have been his 5th. Coach took him out pretty quickly.
He's got 11. So 3 Warriors in double figures as Reka joins Lindsay and Jones. Tony Heckman from the baseline.
Well, for Buchanan right now, it's garbage time. This is their chance to try to get some points. And, oh, there's a terrible reach-in by Heckman. That's his 4th foul. I'm not quite sure why he'd try to make a play like that in the backcourt. But that looks like the 7th team foul, though, unless they flash that one up there real quick. They must have got it up quick, and it's just the 6th on Buchanan.
Heckman came up with a steal and bounced it off Reka. Should have shot it.
Yeah, I should have just gone in and taken the left-hand shot. Chris Reka with 4 fouls, and I'm sure after being told by Coach Dooley not to hack people, was probably not even going to contest that shot.
Would he just tried to make it a difficult left-hand layup, and instead Heckman went for the dish. Tony Jones, beautiful hang time. Lindsay couldn't tip it in, and Andy Stoner with a yank.
Good defensive play that time by Dovey, who came back on defense on Jones, got in his way without fouling.
Nice rebound, Tony Jones, 3-on-1 break. Beautiful bounce pass to Lindsay to finish.
And Stoner tried to fake a charge there, but Tony had gone 4 feet past him to the side before he made that yell and tried to fall back, and the officials weren't buying that one.
Derek Heckman got a charitable roll to pull Buchanan within 26, 58-32, with 4.5 minutes to play in regulation. Overtime not looking very likely.
Hopefully this will be a chance for our fans maybe to see some JV players come in a little bit later. Players like Willie Green, James Weaver played an excellent JV game tonight. Be nice to be able to see them to get some varsity time. Good defense, Brian Lindsay. But can't buy the shot.
Reka there for the follow. Oh, Mike Graham walked before he went behind the back to Lindsay.
And Jim's letting him know about that one. Probably just a simple bounce pass would have been available, but good idea.
A little bit of French pastry.
That's 0 for 8 now from the three-point arc for Buchanan.
Nice block by Heckman.
There they got one. 1 for 9.
Andy Stoner finally ends the drought.
The Buchanan fans going crazy over there. It's down to 23. That ball just slipped out of Chris Rake's hands. And look for Jim Dooley to get a timeout here if Gettysburg doesn't start playing with a little more patience and a little more poise. Nice rebound, Josiah Henry.
Ahead to Jones, and they do call.
Timeout.
3:15 to play. Warriors by 23.
And with 3:15 left, we can reflect a little bit on the game. Again, an excellent night for Gettysburg. Brandon Streeter, the only starter who hasn't played extremely well tonight. And Brandon had a nice game rebounding, just wasn't able to get his shot down on offense. Excellent game for Brian Lindsay. Mike Graham did a wonderful job running the offense, making some good passes, playing good, tough defense, especially on Mike Heckman when he was in the ball game. Super night for Chris Raka and just Josiah Henry inside. The two big men stepped up. But maybe the biggest factor in the game for Gettysburg, Tony Jones off the bench has really played wonderfully. Rebounded, played good defense, finished on the break, made his foul shots when he's fouled. Just a super all-around game for Tony Jones.
Really created some matchup problems for Buchanan. Nobody could stay with him.
Yeah, Buchanan just doesn't have a player quick enough to run the floor with Tony Jones. Otis Woolbright in now after the timeout, replacing Mike Graham, it looks like.
Pump back in there as well for Henry.
Yeah, and we've probably seen the last of those two young men for the evening.
Otis Woolbright pulls up and scores.
Derek Heckman did everything he could and make a steal. Probably not real good defense because all he did was go for steals.
Kump with the foul. And Heckman will shoot, too.
And that's a good call only because Scott Kump reached and tried to block the shot. If Scott had just stood there, he could have taken a charge. And I see Coach Dooley helping Mary out of the stands, and she's got some kind of a cast or something on her foot. It's a shame to see Mary injured. Maybe that ice the other day got to her.
We wish her a speedy recovery. Derek Heckman gets the roll.
Derek Heckman's done most of the scoring in this fourth quarter, and by the time the box score comes out tomorrow, it's going to look like he had a decent game. He's got 7 points now, but realistically, he did nothing until the game was over.
2:59 to play. Warriors by 23. And Woolbright stepped on the line.
Nice block set there by, I'm not sure who that is, one of the Heckmans, one of the Stoners, whoever. Sandy Stoner. There's Heckman again trying to get his offense. He's going to get into double figures by hook or by crook.
Kevin Stoner with a stick back. The lead is 21. Warriors need to try to run some clock. And Andy Stoner commits the reach around foul.
And that's just lazy defense. Instead of moving his feet, he tried to reach around from behind.
That's his second. So Woolbright will shoot the 1-and-1. Special thanks to the Pub and Restaurant, our sports underwriter. What's your favorite menu item? Go in and cast your ballot today.
Victuals and libations, Jeff?
Galore. Raka with a follow. And he's fouled. He'll shoot the 1-and-1.
Nice rebound by Chris, and here's his chance to set his career high. He's got 11. If he makes the first, he'll have it.
7 rebounds. 9 rebounds. So he's thinking double-double.
Yeah, he's really dominated the boards in the second half. He and Josiah Henry really took over rebounding, especially in the third quarter when Gettysburg made the run to put this game out of reach.
Well, we don't talk NBA too much, but a box score item grabbed me. The Dallas Mavericks are starting to put a decent team on the floor. They were a joke only a year ago. Yesterday they had Jackson and Mashburn 40 and 27, and then they had a couple other guys with double-doubles. Popeye Jones, 25 points, 20 rebounds, and Jason Kidd, 10 and 10. So impressive stat package as Lindsay gets the stick back.
Raka almost had that career high there, but Brian Lindsay wound up with it. And great hustle there by Brian. 2 minutes to go in a blowout game, and Brian's laying it out on the floor trying to get loose balls. That's great hustle.
And Raka does have 12, so he made 1 of 2. He's got the career high,
right.
And you called it.
You're talking about the Dallas Mavericks. Not only have they had some good scoring last night, but Dallas has become, I think it is only the sixth team in history to have two different players score 50 points in a game in an NBA season. Nice little left-hand shot there by Stoner.
The lead is 22. Under 2 minutes to play. Lindsay, nice pass to come for the layup.
Excellent pass. Tony Jones did a nice job being patient. Brian Lindsay got open in the middle of the defense and an excellent pass. 1 for 10.
Kump with another rebound. So some quality minutes by some of the backups for Coach Dooley as Alex Shine gets ready to check in.
That's Alex Shines and James Weaver ready to check in at the next stoppage for Gettysburg. And there's the stoppage. And it will be Gettysburg ball. And it looks like Coach Heckman's pulling the reserves off the end of his bench, too. Nice hand for Chris Rake and Brian Lindsay. And a big hug from Jim Dooley for Chris Rake. Tremendous game by both of those players tonight, and they deserve the applause.
Rake at 12 points, 9 rebounds. A career game for the young man, working hard at both ends.
James Weaver with the ball had a tremendous game in the JV game. Some great assists and some real nice shots. And there's Scotty Kump on a great assist from Otis Woolbright.
So Kump with 6 points and at least 3 rebounds. It's GT.
Coming back in for Gettysburg now, or in for Gettysburg now, Josh Conway and Willie Green. Another couple of normally JV players. Willie Green is just a freshman, and he's got a real bright future at Gettysburg Warrior basketball. Woolbright and Tony Jones. Tony getting also a big hug from Jim Dooley. Played maybe the game of his life tonight.
Nice to see work ethic rewarded. Green with a rebound. He looks to go coast to coast. Weaver guarded by Miller. Shine kicks it out to Gondaway. 40 seconds.
Pull-up jumper for Willie, and he's in the book. Willie couldn't quite convert one against Shippensburg Tuesday night, and that, I believe, is his first varsity points. Grant from just about where we're sitting, a little bit short with the jump shot.
As Boris and Natasha would say, lower Slobovia.
See if they step outside for another three here. No, they'll take the layup and miss it.
Nice job by Green. Has a couple of boards. Good bounce pass to Weaver. Pull up. Can't get the roll. Kump. Nothing there on the rebound. And Gondaway, no, on the stick back. Finally pulled down by Miller. And this is going to do it. Shot at the buzzer by Troy Gipe. But the Warriors triumph 71-43.
Big scoring week for the Warriors. 90 points at Shippensburg Tuesday night. 71 points tonight here at home against Buchanan. 161 points in 2 ball games. And in high school basketball, that's really lighting up the scoreboard. And good defense tonight, too, holding Buchanan to only 43 points and 1 for 11, I believe, from three-point shooting. Gettysburg did their job tonight. They D'd up on the arc. They played great defense outside, and they got the ball inside. Henry and Raker were big factors in the game. Both of them played very, very well.
Special thanks to Chris Mathias and Adam Kiefer on stats, and of course, Tom Terrific. Tom Six is providing us with excellent numbers throughout the evening. Dan Dooley, can't thank you enough for your fine work behind the camera. Parting thoughts, Roy Kiefer.
Well, again, kind of a difficult game to judge. Buchanan did not play well. Gettysburg did. Got a working margin early in the game and just sort of pulled away with a big third quarter. Point totals, Brian Lindsay, 19 big points, 13 off the bench for Tony Jones, a tremendous game for Tony, 12 for Reka, 7 for Henry, 6 for Graham, 6 for Scotty Kump, and a real nice job off the bench also. 4 points for Otis Woolbright on a couple nice pull-up jumpers, 2 for Willie Green, his first varsity points, and 2 only for Brandon Streeter. For Buchanan's side, not much really to talk about. Zimmerman had 13, but 9 of those in the first half. Only 4 in the second half, and I believe none in the third quarter when Gettysburg pulled away and put it away. 8 points for Derek Heckman. I believe at least 6 of those were in the fourth quarter in garbage time. 5 only for Tony Heckman, 2 for Andy Stoner, 2 for Geip, who played a real nice JV game, point guard for their JV team, and 4 for Kevin Stoner, again pretty much in mop-up time role. Nice win for the Warriors, 2-0 now in the conference, and as has been the habit the last couple of years, they're looking forward to moving ahead for a championship in that division.
Special thanks, Roy, for joining us in the booth, and until next Monday night, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and drive safely. Jeff Cook saying, see you next Monday night, sports fans. Good night.